Let's go to the River Islands guest line, man. Let's get focused. Your boy Q, he's always focused. Raider Nation Radio, 9:20 a.m., 2 to 5 p.m. out there in Las Vegas Sports Network, ESPN 13 The Game, Locked On Raiders podcast. Your boy Q is everything with the Raiders. He's my guy. We love Q here in the Bay Area. What up, Q, man? How you doing today?
Man, I'm fantastic, man. How you guys doing? Getting a little bit extra sleep, doing a little midday show, huh?
Hey, Q, I don't know if I want to go back, man. We're reliving like Trey Lance videos when, we were like, Trey Lance, he's going to be the man. And here we are 2 years later. I'm like, Trey Lance should probably go to the CFL. And we're actually reliving this. And you had to go through this. And you know what we went through for about 5 years. How about this, Q?
I got to get the out of here before I lose my life. I ain't never been hit this many times in my career. Every game I get up.
So we talked to you last year at practice, and we're talking about the Raiders practice, how the Raiders outplayed the Niners. How was the Jimmy Garoppolo experience for you? How did you get through that?
It was difficult, man. It really was. Like, I didn't have high expectations when it happened. I remember talking to you, as a matter of fact, about what to expect from Jimmy, and basically the way you broke it down was everything that it was, right? It just was. It was, he had moments where he was okay, but he set Davante up for so many medicine balls throughout the course of the year when he was playing. It was incredible. Even practice against the Niners, they knocked Davante out of practice. We thought that he was probably done for a couple games, and Jimmy was just not a good fit in Vegas. So glad to see he's gone, and who's next? Who knows?
Hey, Q, I'd never lie to you, man. I would never lie to you.
Nope.
Go ahead, Josh. Get here, man.
Do you think Davante for Brandon Aiyuk is just internet BS, or there's something to it?
No, I mean, I think for right now it's just internet BS, right? I mean, I think whoever put that report out was like Pretty Ricky or something. And, I know Pretty Ricky from Grind on Me and The Hotline and, the old R&B tracks. Like, I don't know who Pretty Ricky is, and maybe he's got some kind of sources, but I don't know. I do think this, though. If for some reason the Raiders get off to just an awful start of the season and only win like 2 games, 3 games, and they're heading into their bye week, which is week 10, I could see the Raiders saying, all right, or Davante saying, you know what, this isn't going to work, man. Send me somewhere where I can win. And at that point, I think that there's, all bets are off. I think that they could call up the folks there in San Francisco and say, hey, what do you think? Do you want Davante? He wants to be a West Coast guy. Would he fit is what you're doing? And Brandon Aiyuk obviously wants that payday, and he's only 26, so I could see them making a move at that point. But, I mean, in July, early August, when training camp's going on, I don't see anything to it. I think it's just that on the internet.
Your boy Q here on the River Islands guest slide. Yeah, Pretty Ricky. We think we're going to call Ricky Pearsall Pretty Ricky, so I don't even know there's Pretty Ricky online either. But, would the Raiders even entertain? I mean, Raider fans wouldn't like that, right? What do Raider fans think of Brandon Aiyuk?
I think that they'd be fine with Aiyuk. There's been some that have been talking about him ever since the Super Bowl wrapped up. And remember when he put that tweet out saying, well, I guess it's back to Vegas or whatever? I mean, Raider Nation was kind of fired up about that then when they thought that they were going to get Aiyuk and Jaden Daniels, and the whole Arizona State crew was going to reunite with Antonio Pierce as well. And obviously that didn't happen. So I think the fact that he, averages 17 yards a catch, I don't think that anyone would have a problem with that, especially because he is younger. I think that they could, wouldn't have a problem building around him and Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer. But that would mean that the team is not winning very many games, that they're in a rebuild again. And that would not be what Raider Nation wants. They want to find a way for the Raiders to win this year with a very strong defense and obviously question marks on offense with the quarterback position. But a lot of people believe that the Raiders can win some games that some people are going to be shocked by, just because they have that strong defense. So we'll see how it plays out. Training camp starts next week, and we'll find out a lot then.
Likelihood that, it's hard to gauge from what you were saying, because I get all your points, but what is the likelihood that any team, let alone the Raiders specifically, would trade picks and extend this guy and be able to extend Brandon Aiyuk?
And they've got the money to extend him, right? I mean, they've got like $34 million in salary cap space right now if they wanted to entertain that. But I don't think that they would do anything like that right now. I don't. Their way to win is with Davante Adams. Davante wants to be a Raider. He's locked in with the Raiders, as he said. Antonio Pierce has him, in a good place. He's happy with the guys in the locker room, including Max Crosby and others. And he even likes Aiden O'Connell. But, I mean, is he going to be the quarterback to feed him? Or is he going to be able to execute the offense where Davante is not set up for terrible passes and getting drilled by defenders? Is he going to be able to get yards after the catch? Are they going to be able to be a consistent offense? I mean, that's valid questions, and I don't think we know the answer to that until we actually start to see it unfold. So I don't think anything would happen with Davante until, like I said, closer to the trade deadline, which happens to be pushed back this year. Yeah. It's not till November 5th. And that's right during the Raiders bye week, which is the week 10 of the season. So it all lines up. If things don't go right for the Raiders, I could see with Davante out of there after 9 games.
Are you surprised the Raiders didn't try to trade up for a quarterback to try to find that quarterback for Davante to move forward with and settle on Aiden O'Connell instead of not trading up in the draft to try to get one of these hot shot quarterbacks?
Yeah, I am, but I'm not, right? I am because I think that they wanted to do that. I in my heart, know that Antonio Pierce wanted Jaden Daniels. I know that. Like, there's no doubt about that. He wanted that guy. The problem is Washington wasn't giving up the number 2 overall pick. Chicago wasn't giving up number 1. New England wasn't giving up number 3. So what do? And I don't know if there was anyone else that they coveted like they coveted Jaden Daniels. So if it's not him, I wouldn't trade up to go get a quarterback just to say, oh, by the way, we got a quarterback, and then not be the guy that you want. So as much as when I was sitting in Detroit, I was surprised by the way that the draft unfolded. You still got a really good player in Brock Bowers. Now the question is going to be the $1 million question. Can you get him the rock, right? Can one of those quarterbacks consistently feed him the ball, Davante the ball, Jacoby Myers and others? That's the $1 million question.
All right, one last one on the Niners, like Brock Purdy. I love the outside perspective on him. When Jared Goff got a monster deal recently, Niner fans are like, oh, Detroit overpaid for Jared Goff. They're not going to win anything. If Brock Purdy got the exact same contract that Jared Goff, how would you view Purdy and the 49ers?
I mean, I think that Purdy and the 49ers are in a good position. I think that they're going to have to pay him a deal that looks just like that, if not more, right? Probably more than that. They're probably going to have to pay him more than Dak Prescott's going to get. But I think that the Niners are in a good position, which is the reason why I think that Brandon Aiyuk will probably not play there after this year, because they're going to have to pay Brock Purdy. And you're not going to pay everybody and give all that money to the wide receiver position, where it's like, Deebo's getting paid, and then Aiyuk get paid, and Christian McCaffrey's getting paid. Like, someone's got to be on the outside looking in. So I think it's going to be Aiyuk. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do with Purdy. I mean, he's that guy. They lucked out really when you look at it with Trey Lance. That whole situation, they fell into Brock Purdy. They got him. It's a great fit for what they do. I think that they pay him the money, they roll on, and they try to win championships. And I think this is a big year for San Francisco.
I remember you loving Brock Purdy because you covered the Big 12, obviously, when you're out there in Waco, Texas, covering Baylor. So you saw a lot more Brock Purdy than I did. I know that for sure. But you brought up Brandon Aiyuk could maybe moving on next season, moving forward. Who would you bank on at the wide receiver position, or just as a playmaker? Would it be Deebo for the foreseeable future, or would it be Brandon Aiyuk?
I would roll with Deebo because I think he means more to that team, right? I mean, Brandon Aiyuk might be the better wide receiver, and I say might. I don't obviously watch him as much as you guys do. I just think Deebo means more to the Niners than Brandon Aiyuk does, with the toughness that he brings, with the swagger that he brings, with the attitude, the little something in his neck, right? Obviously, he can do many things, from running the rock to catching the ball. I mean, look, you saw the proof in the pudding. He was out for 3 games last season. They lost all 3 of them. Right. So I just think that Deebo is that big of a difference maker because of what he brings. He has that element that is just, I mean, you can't create that in the lab, man. I mean, Deebo is a different style dude. I think he's perfect for what they do in San Francisco.
Real quick before we let you go, receiver doc or the hard knocks on the New York Giants front office?
Receiver. I'm rolling with receiver. I think it's pretty cool to be able to see what these guys go through on a daily to get on the field on Sundays, right? I mean, I didn't realize how bad it really was and what they're dealing with on the daily through all the injuries and what it takes for them to get on the field. So I really got to give them a lot of respect for what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm loving this front office one, though. But I hear you, Q, man. You're doing a hell of a job at Las Vegas, man. You taking over that town, that city, man. Hopefully you guys have a good season with the Raiders. We'll be talking to you soon, no doubt about it, Q. Thanks for the time today, brother.
All the time, man. Appreciate catching up with y'all.
Anytime. Your boy Q here on the River Islands Guest Line. Raider Nation Radio, 920 a.m., 920 a.m., 2 to 5 p.m., Las Vegas Sports Network. He's doing everything. ESPN 1320 The Game, Locked On Raiders podcast. He's Mr. Raider. He's now doing television hits out there in Las Vegas. Q's a really good dude. But